Yes, the hour is coming for everyone who kills you to think that he is offering worship to God. There is a case going on right now in which a young lassie is purported to have become a Christian and has been sentenced to some kind of death by the competent authorities in the Muslim country in which she finds herself. Compare that with what was said in the first generation by our enemies. See how these Christians loved one another. It has been said that faith is the hallmark of Muslims, hope that of Jews, and charity that of Christians. This weekend I have been meditating somewhat on that simple question, our hallmark. There is a story told, and it's true obviously, in the interview that was made with Maria Simma, the expert on the souls in purgatory, before she passed away, that there was a case in her area somewhere which was known to the local people of a young man who wasn't at all into prayer or the sacraments. In fact, he had, it would seem, a private life not of the most edifying. But then there was an avalanche in the area, indeed a series of avalanches. He had the instinct, because he knew that his friend had been caught in one, to rush out to save his friend. His mother, who could foresee the danger, pleaded with him not to go. He obeyed not his mother, but his heart. The result was that he too was buried alive, for another avalanche came on top of the first. And people were somewhat afraid that he might not have made it because of his private life. So they came to Maria Simma and asked if she had any word on it, and she went into mode of prayer, and she was given to understand he had made it. And the reason was precisely this: charity covers a multitude of sins. He had indeed had a virtual martyrdom, if you like, rather like the good thief on the cross. This weekend, I looked again at something I had written and indeed framed and put at the entry to my little house when I was setting up. I wanted this house to be worthy of the angels and of the Lord of hosts who reigned in it. And so I put a sonnet together and gave it this Italian title: In questa casa, in this house, c'è solo amore. There is only love. And I asked a local artist from the village if she would put that in picture form. And she did. And so that is what I framed and put at the entry, together with the sonnet. It was a little house with a heart-shaped, as it were, welcome in the form of the bricks that had been put together to form, as it were, a heart-shaped cloister as one came in. When a young boy in school, I was sent by my parish, which was the local Benedictine priory, to the monastery, to Ampleforth, for Easter. And I was moved. I was moved by two things. One was what I had been warned about by my spiritual father, Dom Lawrence, a bit of Benedictine splendor. And wow, that was it. Basil Hume pontificating in all his Benedictine glory at Easter night. The whole school choir and an army of monks. Remember, about 120 monks in that community. And that was something else. But it wasn't perhaps the most powerful surprise and jerk. At the end of more than a week, actually, I had to go back, and they did everything to organise the return journey. And at about 8:30 in the morning, having at 7 o'clock in the morning served the private mass in Latin of a dear, dear father who's now long gone to his reward, they put me on a minibus and sent me to York Station. And I looked back, I looked at the gentle faces, particularly that of Dom Edmund, the novice master who had received me into the church that week, and at the others who were there, and I cried to myself, why? Here there is love. It's difficult to put into words, but that's the best advertisement that a community can have, or a prayer group, or a parish. The Lord, when he left us, precisely at this time of year, did not give an elaborate ritual or book of rules. He simply said, "A new commandment I give unto you." And maybe in putting it that way, he wanted precisely to let us see clearly what he really wanted and what it was about. Now, that love is concrete. I would like my friends to just look quietly and calmly at its ingredients. A word, whether it's coming from one's lips, or from one's mobile phone, or from one's pen, or from one's computer, heals, soothes, causes to chuckle, or goes straight into the heart as a dagger. And it can sometimes be a few minutes after being in mode of prayer. What's going on there? Charity, in an enclosed community, as in a family, is not made usually of huge dramatic things like expensive gifts. It's made of heroic, long-term delicacy, knowing that joy is made of a perpetual, ever-switched-on effort, never abandoned. Because unfortunately, those that often we treat worse are those closest to us. How many wives feel after only a few years of marriage that they're less important than the television, than the hobby, than the pub? They're just a machine for washing and cooking. And it's only a few years after letters to the effect that "you're my all," and all that other young lovers might write to each other. What happened in the meantime? I remember in France we had a prayer intention book at the entrance to the church. I remember there were two next to each other as it happens. One was "Pour le cœur de Daniel que j'aime," for the heart of Daniel whom I love. And right underneath it, in someone else's script, was this: "Pour que mon mari retrouve le sourire," that my husband may find again his smile. Before and after. And how many marriages, indeed monasteries, are something like that? I would leave that with you, my friends, but remember, if you have hurt somebody, it's important that that not be left unhandled, I would say, before nightfall. Often, not with huge protestations of remorse and apology, which only underline and make more tense and dramatic, but indirectly, with something which produces a smile, joy, and a natural relativizing of what otherwise could last for weeks. Little tricks. A hug says more than a page of apology.
In questa casa c'è solo amore. In this house there is only love. What 'tis to live alone and not alone, but only with a heat that bade us be. What 'tis to own a corner where is known no presence but a warmth. What 'tis to see no eyes that utter pain. What 'tis to hear no sound but voices fond. What 'tis to rest unhurried 'tween 2 hours, and to be near a heart wherein a while we made our nest. 'Tis this to own a land where we can die, not on worn moments marred, where barred was all that could have been on earth, where mirth did lie beyond the clasp that grasped all but the small and little thing that bade us sing upon a nothing that did something.